Hello guys, this is Tinril with a new series, Kerbal Space Program Exploration Science Adventure. The direction I'd like to take this is with the focus on science over grinding, but I still want some funds-based progression. I'll be using a telescope to discover planets in a modded system that replaces all of the original bodies, so that I can then send a probe out to check them out, while also building a network of satellites to support controlling those probes and communication for sending science back to the Kerbal Space Center. I'll be using Kerbal construction time and USI life support to add weighting. Lots of weighting with Kerbal construction time. And also to give me a reason to more thoroughly plan out missions, thinking of how much time I'll be spending at the location and how to get home, instead of just sending a rocket out somewhere and then spending years there and then getting home whenever I feel like it. The mode is going to be career mode with funding and reputation based off of gathering science and using strategia for strategies that are more focused on exploration. Between the tutorial contracts for starting progression and those enabled by strategies that I pick, there will be a few contracts, but mostly I'll be building, I will be waiting, and I'll be looking for new science. Here in the background, you can see a planet. This is not Kerbin. Kerbin is gone. This is Gale. Gale is a terrestrial planet, homeworld of the Kerbals. Despite their penchant for megastructures, Kerbals make every effort to ensure that the ecological balance of their world is not disturbed, and much of the planet remains an untouched wilderness. If this is the same as what Kerbin was, that means every single Kerbal in existence lives at the Space Center, and the rest of the planet is empty. There is a pretty nice GitHub wiki for Galileo's Planet Pack. I'll include that in the description. There's a lot of useful information about all the bodies, descriptions, breakdown of detailed information. There's also a Delta V chart and a PDF with more details about the bodies that comes with the mod itself, if you'd like to check that out. And without further ado, let's get started. Let's start a new career. We'll call this just Tinrul's ESA. Pick a flag that I just made. Does that get bigger? Alright, that is too small. Enhance. That's better. We'll set some custom difficulty. I'm going to make it so I have to spend funds to unlock parts after I research them. I'm going to disallow reverting of flights. If I build something poorly and I didn't do enough testing with simulations, and I spend all the time with Kerbal construction time to build it, I feel like I should be stuck with it. To ensure that I spend more time exploring, in order to fill up the tech tree, I'm going to reduce my science rewards by 50%, which, based off of Play Your Way, where you get funding and reputation from science, means I will be getting less reputation and funds, so I've kind of bumped that up just a little. Under Advanced, I'm going to require signal control for my probes, so I can't just control them if I don't have contact through my network of satellites. And Plasma Blackout, so I have to kind of be on the rails for entering the atmosphere and hope that my timing is correct for disabling exposed antennas so that I can regain control and land them before they crash. Let's see what else is there. I think that's it. For contract configurator, I'm going to disable all of these. And that should be everything. Lots of windows. Let's get rid of janitor's toolbar warning. Gene Kerman is welcoming us to the Space Center. Thank you, Gene. I got it. Stock tree? No. Engineering tech tree. You can see this is 134,053 science across 134 nodes. This one is a lot more. A lot of those nodes are going to be hidden because we're not using them. They're for mods that I'm not using. But the tech tree is quite large and pretty interesting. I picked the tree that I want. Kerbal construction time default settings. I'm going to choose the default for my save setting. And to spend my upgrades, the way Kerbal construction time works is you put points into rates for building in the vehicle assembly building or the space plane hangar, as well as research and development, because it takes time to research things after you unlock them before you can start using those parts. And every time you spend points in the tech tree, you get more points to spend here. So to start, I'm just going to pump up building all the way, and I'll worry about getting better building or faster research later. Let's take a look at the tracking station. Hello again, Gene. I've got it. So this is Gale. It has a large amount of water on almost half the planet. And you can see that I can only see 2 moons, Iota and Seti, as well as 1 planet, Niven. Everything else is unknown, so I can't see its orbital path. I don't see any details about it, and that would make it pretty hard to get to. So I'll be using telescopes to find out more details about these somehow. I don't know how that works yet. I'll figure that out when I get there. Research Bodies also adds this observatory, which is where I will be exploring those planets. It's locked for now. I'll have to get it later. Let's get started with the rocket. Thanks, Gene, again. Default parts I start with. I don't think I can get a Kerbal into a command seat without a pod, and I don't have a pod, so I'll be sending up something that isn't manned. Sepratron 1 for engines, that's pretty weak. I do have some structural stuff, no coupling, basic fins, no batteries, and just 1 science thing. So I guess I'll unlock the barometer. I'll start building my rocket with the Probodyne Stay Putnik. I think even with just Sepratrons, I can probably get to the upper atmosphere. This does not have any stability control, so I won't be able to tip it any way that I want. I'll be purely dependent on aerodynamic forces. So I'll just put 4 fins on here. The reason I'm using 4 for my symmetry is actually tied to science. Because if I consider the amount of science I'll get from this first launch, I have the launch pad up in the air, the upper atmosphere, and landing somewhere else. So I've got 4 different experiments to consider. Now, this is going to be the final stage, so I'm going to want kind of a longer burn. So I'm going to set these thrust limiters to be something small. I'll just set them to be 20, because by the time these launch, I will have accelerated and gone up quite a bit. I'll also center these vertically. So I'll do 8 of those, but I also want to keep speed up so that I don't start tipping over. So I'll have this set in the middle be 60% thrust. So that'll be my final stage there. Structural component. This modular girder is something, I almost forgot something super important. I want this to be able to land, so let's look at the parachutes. I guess that's utility. 2,800 to unlock. I think these cost less to use, but since I have to pay to unlock those, I'll use a stack chute first. Modular girder. Let's use some more of those. Just go along with the 4 times symmetry. Now, these are going to be to blow that up. So when I'm ready to get rid of this lower stage and all these girders that are going to have more Sepratrons on them, I'll just blow it up. So, put those on another stage. Put my parachute on the final stage. Now, let's look at the dynamics for this top part. I'll turn on center of mass as well as the aerodynamic overlay. You can see that the blue ball is before the yellow ball. That means that I'm not too stable from my fins. I want to have the center of lift behind the center of mass. I'll just push that down. Stick this back on. I'll also add fins to this bottom part. And then more Sepratrons. And I'll just leave these at 100%. I'll just add 2 pairs on either side. What the heck? Let's add them on the ends too. Alright, that looks like it will... I don't see why not, at least. Why it would probably go to the upper atmosphere. What's it say? Engineer for the Delta V. 1,500 meters a second. Delta V being the potential change in velocity. I think that could make it. Let's give it a simulation. Too many parts. 59. Oh, part limit of 30. That's pretty low. I forgot about that. It's been a while since I played career mode. Let's save this as too expensive. Interstellar Thermal Mechanics Helper. It looks like some of these mods have key bindings that are just generic letters. I'll have to get rid of that. More key things. Too expensive Mark 1. I'm pretty sure that would make it to the atmosphere, but since 30 parts isn't going to get me very far, there actually isn't much point in really building a whole lot. So if I'm not going to be getting that high, I'm probably only going to get to 3 biomes. So I'm going to trim this down. How far would I get? Basically, I just want to get high enough to get some lift and then fall down so that Gale will have rotated under me and I'll land somewhere other than the Space Center. So I think I'll just go with that. Close U. I'm gonna rest on my wings. Now, I can use a simulation to test this. It will cost funds for every second that I run it, and the simulations do get kind of expensive. But it's worthwhile to make sure that the rocket's going to work before you send it to Kerbal Construction Time to actually build it. So I'll just call this Mini Launch Mark 1. Save that. Do a simulation. Oh, it's already costing me almost 400 to simulate. It didn't tip over. That's good. This looks fine. Let's terminate that. Alright, I'm going to add this to the Kerbal Construction Time build queue. It's going to take 6 days, 2 hours, and 20 minutes. That is a long time. Now, ideally with later progression, for both research and building, I will be doing things in parallel, so I won't just be waiting, doing something, waiting, doing something. It'll be able to go on in the background. But for now, I'm going to work to complete so that this rocket can get built. And it's nighttime. Kerbal Construction Time also has you roll out the rocket based off of its size. It has a different duration to the launch pad itself, so I'll roll that out. And then for you guys, I'll fast forward to daytime. Warp to next morning. That's convenient. Let's see if it works for a modded system. Perfect. Let's launch this bad boy. Now, Experiment Tracker over here is a convenient way to set experiments up. It shows you anything that you can do if you've got the experiments for it, and it's like a new... Oh, it's my flag. Also, I'm going to go back to the Space Center real quick because I think I forgot something. There should be some basic contracts for me, like launch your first vessel and all of that stuff. Launch our first vessel. Yes. Back to this. Log pressure data. Lots and lots of millibars. Our first science, 1.8. Very, very small. All right, let's go. Second science. The air is really thin, but useful for many conventional things. 4.2. Still not that great. Now, since I'm not going to be going that high, and I don't want to fall back down just onto the Space Center, I'm going to deploy my parachute and then glide down slowly with Time Warp so that I'll fall to the west of the Space Center. Once I start actually falling, that is. That mountain range looks like a good place to launch a rocket toward if I was able to pitch my rocket over. And lots of water. That's also a nice biome that should be pretty easy to get to. I don't see a parachute. Oh, I guess it's set for a pretty low altitude. There we go. Now I'll fast forward through this. In my mind, I was going to fly higher and drift farther, but here we are. Log pressure data. Powered vessel to operate. I ran out of battery power, so I can't actually collect the science from here. If I didn't let my parachute go early, I probably would have been able to get that. Let's just collect it. I don't quite know how this works with Kerbal Construction Time. I can recover this way, but then it's in storage, and I don't think I can edit things in storage. I think they just get deployed and refueled as they are. So that's only for vessels that are going to launch the same. I don't think I'll be launching this same rocket this same way. So I'm just going to... I'll recover it this way anyway. Up to 9 science. Got some parts back. Let's see, I've got these down here. Vessel is complete. Broken some speed records. Launched our first vessel. And we did an experiment at home. 1 reputation. Next starting contract, escape the atmosphere. Yes. Strategia, I don't think I'll be able to do anything here for a while. This requires more than I will have. I have the funds to get this started, but Iota is the first moon. What do I need to get started that? So I've got to get to orbit first. I'll come back for that later. Research and development. So much to choose from. I've got almost 10 science. I can get some stuff. Liquid engines. That's only useful if I... Well, I guess these do have... gimbal, right? Some of these have gimbal. Yes. So there's gimbal, so I can control the direction of my rocket to some extent. 5 science. Is there... Will I be able to get 2 of anything? Probably not. More science for 5. Oh, I can get field science. So I can start rovers. I think I'll do that. I'll start by researching the liquid engines first. This next one is 15, and I'll also unlock the rovers. So that will be unlocked in 6 days. This one, I didn't catch what it will be. Well, personally, I could keep playing all day, but I don't want to drag out these episodes too long, especially not the first one. So I hope you guys enjoyed what's going on so far. It is a little slow. That's how progression is. Once I start getting more components, things will start sailing along, and I'll be able to do more interesting things. So I will see you in the next episode.